2nd through 8th, we're going to have a very delightful experience. One of our former students, Adrian Herrera, who actually is working currently with St. Thomas University at STU, he is going to help us better understand the beauty and the mystery of adoration, the real presence of Christ in the Eucharist in adoration. And Father Givaldo is here as well. So I'm not sure where Adrian is. He was back there in a nice suit, by the way. Adrian, if you can hear me. Oh, there he is. All right. Yes, I'll turn off the lights. Yes. So it is great to see Adrian. I had his sister Amanda many years ago. Yes. God bless you, buddy. All right.
Good morning. Wow, that's a nice morning. I like that. When I try to do that to the college students, I get a morning. So it's nice to actually get a good welcome hello. I just want to begin with my favorite time here at Good Shepherd was Tuesdays. Not because I got out of class. It was because I had the opportunity in a very real way to come to Mass. And although I didn't fully understand it at a young age, I knew it was important. I knew it was special. And also because when I was younger, I really wanted to be in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade so I could wear the blazers, but that's a whole different story. But I remember sitting back. I was in 4th grade. I remember sitting towards the back. And I'll admit, I was talking when I shouldn't be talking. Oh God, excuse me. She also taught me choir. But I remember sitting in the back, and I was talking when I shouldn't be talking. And in a very gentle way, I was reminded that something special was going to happen. And it was the moment where, I believe it was Father Greer, I'm dating myself right now of how long ago that was. Father Greer elevated the bread. And he said those words. And in a real way, it was no longer bread. It was Christ. Then he lifted up the chalice. He said those very special words. And it wasn't wine. It was Jesus. Now, why is that? Why am I talking about Mass if I'm supposed to speak about adoration? Well, first of all, what is adoration? I know that now you guys have a little chapel here on the right. My time was over there. And when I was really, really young, and I'm talking about not maybe 1st grade, I didn't know what that was. Not yet. But I knew it was special. Because I'd walk by and everybody would kind of like bow, and I just would like walk behind them and bow, not knowing what I was doing. But I remember my first time there. Chapels are cold for some reason. And I remember opening the door in the cold breeze. But it was quiet. It was quiet. And it just, you ever been in a good place and where you're with somebody and you just hit it off immediately? Like you know you guys are gonna be friends? Okay, you know you guys might be, I know I'm talking to my 8th graders, I know that you guys are there. I know that you have experienced this. You guys have, I see somebody smiling, smirking, I get it, it's okay. You guys have a friend, a best friend, that you hit it off and you just knew. Because you clicked, because it was familiar. But no one knows you how God knows you and how he made you to be. So the word adoration derives from to adore, to love, to worship. So when we go to adoration, we adore, we worship, and we love who? It's not that hard, guys. Who do we love? Come on. 8th graders, help them out. Who do we love? God. Okay. There we go. God. Good. All right. Whew. God in what? What? Jesus, right. Jesus in what we call the veil of a sacrament. And what does that mean, veil? It means something that's kind of hard to see in a way that we see it, but there's a mystery to it. And that veil, the veil of a sacrament, is in the Eucharist. Guys, the Eucharist is what we just celebrated. It's in the Mass. It's the greatest gift. It's the greatest prayer. You know, it was interesting that Father said, can someone who's in heaven come down? Okay, yes. God. Who else? Jesus. Okay. The Holy Spirit. Mary. Well, Joseph, so the saints. Okay, good. So we know that God can come down. We know that Mary can come down. We know that Jesus can come down. We know that the saints can come down. But what if I told you that at the moment of the Mass, heaven is on earth, and earth is in heaven? Why? Yeah, I know. Super cool. And thank you. I finally got some reaction from somebody. Yes, guys, it really happens. And I don't see it. Yes, I wish. I don't know if I wish I saw it, but it would be pretty cool to see angels kneeling before God, to see Jesus being the one to offer himself. It would be pretty cool. Would I be scared? Absolutely. I don't know if I'm ready for that, right? And I think that's why God hasn't given me that grace. But it happens. But what about adoration? So that's the Mass. Whoa, okay. That's the Mass. But in adoration, what is heaven? Heaven, okay. You go and talk to God, that's a part of it. What else? No death, that's true. What is heaven like? Talk to me, I got a lot of questions. Okay. The place where God lives. It's perfect. Yeah. What more perfect really is there than adoration? It's a place where God resides. It's a place where God lives. Guys, in a very real way, when you enter adoration, it is the closest thing besides the Mass that you experience heaven. It is a place that only peace, love, and happiness and joy can enter, fully and totally permeating the heart. How do we know this? Is because that's where ultimately we find Christ. Totally. I know sometimes it's hard for us because all we see, right? We only see the bread, we only see the wine. But, I don't want to get too philosophical without getting too hard. So I'm gonna get this one to my 8th graders. Sorry, guys. Mr. Pages will help me out later. Thanks. What makes, you guys are gonna find this question silly, but bear with me. What makes a human a human? What makes us humans? Okay. Yeah, talk to me. Our soul, okay. I'm sorry? Our mistakes and our faults, but what about physical? Is there anything physical? Do I know I'm a human because I have a nose? No? Right? Do I know that I'm a human because I have a hand? No, right? Those are just parts of being a human. Why? Because we have something which is called substance, which is what a person is, right? And then we have accidents, what they look like. So why is this important? Well, when the priest prays those prayers, the accidents, what it looks like, it's still, yes, it looks like bread, right? I don't see Jesus. If you guys see Jesus, that's really cool. Tell him I say hi. When we used to, before COVID, and we used to give out the blood of Christ, I tasted wine. So the accidents, the physical features remain. But guys, the substance, what it is, that was changed. And that's there waiting. I point here because, again, that's the chapel that I know. That's there waiting for us. So how do we do it, right? Okay, adoration is adoring God. How do I do it? You ready? There's no perfect way to adore. Sometimes, if you want to pray the rosary, you pray the rosary. When I started, I didn't fully know the rosary. I knew that this one meant Our Father. I knew that these meant Hail Marys, but I was like, do I pray just the Our Fathers first? Do I pray the Hail Mary second? Like, I know there's a Glory Be, but I know it's Glory Be to the Father, to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, and then I forget the rest. You know, how exact? There's no, this is what it's supposed to look like. There's guides, right? So the Catholic Church has an acronym. You know what an acronym is? Where's our language teachers? Do you know what an acronym is? An acronym is really simple. It's letters that mean words. If I said that, I hope I'm saying it right because I'm not an English teacher. So the Catholic Church has an acronym called ACTS. Adoring. When you start your prayer, remember who you're praying to. Remember that you're in front of God, our Father. And He invited us to pray. Contrition, that's the hardest part for some of us. Lord, I haven't been the best. Whatever it might look like. Or maybe I shouldn't have taken the pencil. The teacher told me to give it back. Adoration, contrition, thanksgiving. Who here likes Christmas? Oh, so that one, everybody's hands up? No, I'm kidding. So for Christmas, what happens, right? You guys get gifts. And, your mom says, what do you say? Or, thank you. That's more your birthday, because Santa gives that. But how many gifts does God give us? Yes. 10? Just 10? Just 100? A million? A billion? That's the right answer. All of you who said infinite are right. God's not like, all right, you got your 10, peace, next guy. You get your 10 for the day. Whew. No, 11, that's too much. All right, you're being greedy. That's not how God works. God gives His love abundantly. And He gives it to you. And He wants to give it to you. He wants to give it to each and every one of you guys. And then the last one is supplication, which is a big word for just asking. It's understanding that, yes, thank God, thank you for all these gifts, but Lord, in your love and in your grace, I need a little bit more. I need to pass JP's test or whatever the case might be. Oh, Lord have mercy. There you go. You're welcome. God's gift right there. But in a serious note, how do I start? How long should it be? I was in the seminary, meaning I studied to be a priest. I studied to, do all this stuff. And we were asked to do a holy hour. What does that mean? That means I go before God, and I sit there for an hour, and I pray. But it's not that hard. I promise you, it's not that hard. I don't like the mic, I'm sorry. I'm too animated. Can everybody hear me? Okay. It wasn't hard for me to do the hour. It wasn't. Why? Because in a real way, in a real way, in a special way, I was talking to the guy who made me, the guy who loved me. Adoration is the key of holiness. And it doesn't have to look the same for everybody. Why? Because God made you. And when He made you, He said, I love you. And He didn't say, I love you because you're going to do this. He didn't say, I love you because you're going to do that. No, He said, I love you, and I love you for your weaknesses. I love you for your strengths. And I love you because however way and however much you were mine. And no matter what we do, it doesn't change. It's beautiful. So, Adrian, an hour is way too hard. That's too long, too much. No. I said I should go the hour. I go the hour. You're saying me. You have. So where do you start? Who here likes to write stuff down? Okay, somebody. Journal, diary. Okay. What if I told you that would be a prayer? What if I told you? Thank you, you're the best. What if I told you? What if I told? This is harder. Don't worry, Eddie. Thank you. I'm just gonna walk around. What if I told you that you writing stuff down, you being honest with God, and you saying, JP2's test, bro. I know you love me, but homeboy, this grade, it's kind of hard, right? Yeah, I know that feeling. Listen, I studied philosophy. I've experienced God's mercy in some way, and I experienced His justice in some of my grades. But I had the ability to be able to sit down before God and reflect myself. Because your studies are important, yes. I don't want your principal to say, what do you say? No, your studies are important, right? Oh. Whoops. Sorry, YouTube. Your studies are important. I don't want anybody to say it's not. But, and this is what I tell my football players that, I have to look up to. If you leave here and you know you are loved by God, you leave here and God is your best friend, we have all done our job. We're here because we like to serve, because we like to teach, yes. But we work and we do what we do because we also love God. And we see the beauty that He does in your life. So guys, real simple. Adoration is adoring God, sitting there and saying, I love you, and knowing that He loves you too. There was a nice saint, a beautiful saint, called Saint John Vianney. Powerful guy. I mean, brilliant in the spiritual life, not so brilliant with academics. I mean, the guy couldn't learn Latin, the guy couldn't learn Greek, not the smartest guy. Neither could I, but no one needs to know that, right? No one needs to know that I don't know Latin. because that wasn't mandatory back then, or now. But back then it was, and he was still able to, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry, I've been giving you guys my back. He was still able to be a priest. And he would come into his church, and he'd be praying. And he lived in like a rural area, that, you know what that means, rural, right? So like farmland and stuff like that. And a farmer would pass by, get off his tractor, or his horse, whatever they had back then, and he'd come, and he'd sit way in the back. And he was there for guess how long? Anybody want to guess? 10 hours, oh my gosh, 10 hours, wow. A day? What do you guys think? An hour, 2 hours, what else? What happened? No? He was there for 5 minutes. 5 minutes. 2 years, that's a long time. I think he has to eat. He was there for 5 minutes, guys. He sat down in the back, and St. John Vianney would see this, and he would kind of was like, what's going on? He didn't have a rosary in his hand. He didn't see his mouth moving. So, he was curious. So as the man's leaving, St. John Vianney was smart. He waited for the man to finish whatever he was doing. And he caught him as he was walking out, and he goes, "Excuse me, sir." And yes, Father. I've been seeing you coming in and out for the last couple months. What are you doing? You're here for such a short time. What are you doing? And the guy says the coolest thing, like mic drop, everything. I look at him, and he looks at me. That's it? That's your prayer? You look at Jesus, and Jesus looks at you? Yes. And that is a beautiful prayer, guys. So all adoration is, and I keep emphasizing this because I want it to be known and to be understood, is going before God in the Blessed Sacrament. It's taking that time and in a real way, in a special way, saying, I am yours, God, and you're mine. When you go before God, the beauty, the love, and the grace you experience is like no other. You know, you don't have to raise your hand, but ask yourself, who here has lost someone that they've loved? It's rough, right? No, you don't have to raise your hand, it's okay. I've lost a lot of friends, unfortunately, right, for different circumstances. And I pray to God, and I pray that they're in heaven, and I know that they're in heaven. But I know that as I sit before God and I glorify Him in adoration, and I say, thank you, Lord. Although I can't see them, although I can't feel them, I know that they're next to me praying to that very same God. Catholic means universal. Prayer is universal. It's done in different languages. The Mass looks different depending on where you go, because our God is a personal God. He looks at each and every one of you individually. Meaning, okay, what does that mean? When He sees me, sorry to, when he looks at me, everybody else in this room disappears. What? Yeah. When he looks at you, everybody else in this room, poof, even myself. And he does that with each of us because he loves us uniquely. And how do I know that? Very simply, because I've experienced it. Because I've had the privilege and the grace. You know what? I'm going to say this story, and I'm sorry. I hope I'm not going too long. It was with the Pierced Hearts. We went to a mass. It was my freshman year of seminary. And I sat there with some seminarians, and this woman comes in. And we're praying to the Blessed Sacrament. And she's praying her heart out. And I look at her, and I say, she's trying to get pregnant. And then I look again, and I keep praying, and I go, no. She's pregnant, but unfortunately, there's something wrong with the baby. And that poor woman was there before God in the Blessed Sacrament. You know, that whole thing of the acronym, right? Where it was adoration, thanksgiving, contrition, supplications, all that stuff. I know I said it wrong. It's okay. Go with me. She went through that. And I know her supplication was one thing. Was her child. So the Mass continues, right? If you've ever been to the Pierced Hearts, they have their thing. And I sit there, and in the very same way, I hear, go tell her that I won't do that. Go tell her that I took care of her problem. And I was like, nope, absolutely not. I'm not doing that. But I heard it in my heart, right? I heard Jesus say, go tell her that I'm taking care of her baby. And I said, nope, I'm not going to do that. I was like, Lord, you're crazy. You're nuts if you think I'm going to go before a woman who's suffering and I'm going to say, don't worry, God's taking care of you. Lord, I'm brave. I'm not that brave. I'm brave. I'm not that brave. But it continued. Go. And I was like, dude. And I shouldn't, but I did. I said, all right, Lord, I'll make you a deal. I won't tell her, but find me a way of getting the information to her. I'm not brave enough, and I'll admit it. I was not brave enough to go to her directly and say, I know what you're praying for. God's got you covered. So walks in a woman who's known me since I was, put it this way, she knew my sister who's 4 years older than me since she was in second grade, so I don't even know how old I was. And she walks in and she sits right next to the woman that's pregnant. And I go, Lord, I was kidding. I really didn't want you to take me up on my bluff. But he did. And like a chicken, I waited till the last moment. The Mass was over. The Blessed Sacrament was put away. And I go, excuse me, praying to God she didn't hear me. I prayed. I was like, Lord, please. And of course, that was the moment where everyone went silent. The last stopped, right? Everybody's perfect. So my voice echoed across the entire church. And I went white. And she turned around, she goes, yeah, what's up? What? Jesus. What? And I go, okay, I might be crazy, but, God's going to take care of her baby. I never met this woman. I didn't know what she was praying for. This was, bro, you want to talk about a comfort zone? Comfort zone? Way out of my comfort zone. No! And immediately, really? I was like, yeah. She tells her friend. Her friend hugs me. As she went running to her friend, I went running out the door because I was like, I don't want to be a part of this. I don't want her to know who I am. It's okay. Yeah, I could. Apparently, she could run faster than I can. So the mother sees me. The mother thanks me, thanks the priest, thanks the sisters, and she leaves. And I was like, oh, Lord. Months pass by. I forget about it. I do. And this lady calls me randomly. And she's like, hey, question. When's the mass at the seminary? And I go, excuse me, the child, it's been about like 9 months. I know the baby was born by now. And she goes, oh, I didn't tell you? No, you didn't tell me. What happened? Perfect. The problems that was in the child's heart is no longer there. Doctors couldn't explain it. And immediately, like this relief, I was like, oh my gosh. Guys, your prayer is important. I'm not sitting here and saying that every time you ask for a miracle, it's gonna happen. But what I am telling you is, God listens, and God acts, and God moves hearts in a way that we don't understand. You take the time, I promise you, and you give him 5 minutes, and you'll never want to leave. Because what you feel, what you experience, you won't ever experience it ever in this world. Because it's not of this world. But it's the closest outside of the Mass that we can get. And he does it, and he waits there for you and no one else. That is the beauty. That is the grace. And that is the power of adoration. Thank you.
So what Adrian doesn't know is that as teachers in this school, to have him sitting in the back of my classroom, he was a guest sometimes. Let me explain to you why he was a guest sometimes. Teachers would send him to my classroom. Go sit in Mr. Page's classroom. And then he'd be in the corner, and my middle school students would stare, and they'd be like, what's he doing here again? And his sister was one of my students. What he doesn't know is that every day I prayed for Adrian. I'm not going to go into my personal life, but some of you know. Because I know the journey that Adrian faced was very, very difficult. And I would talk to his father, I would talk to his mother, mostly about his sister because his sister was my student, and I would pray for both of them. And then one day, I see Adrian in another youth ministry here in this parish, and I'm like, okay, I see you, Adrian. And then one day he shows up at SWAG. He showed up for a couple of meetings, and I see him in the back, and he asked me some questions that it was interesting because I was like, okay, he's searching. This is beautiful. And I always wanted and prayed for a deeper conversion for all students, current, past, and future. Always, always, always. You do not understand. When we talk about how people are saying Shia LaBeouf's massive conversion, such a beautiful, profound thing because he searched through Padre Pio. It moves me to tears when I see that type of conversion. I'm not saying Adrian went as far as Shia LaBeouf. I'm not saying that. Please don't think, because if you know where Shia LaBeouf went, he went really dark. But there was parts of Adrian that were searching and struggling. And if Adrian is a testament of what faith can do, believe me, anybody in this room, middle school, I know it sounds so like magical. It's not magical. It's the love of God. To see him, and Ms. Callejas knows where Adrian was when he was here and where he is today. I am so proud of you. God bless you for your service to our Lord.